Hello, and welcome back to the ministry. And this is Taj McCameron. And God's been speaking a lot. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there has been so much battle of the field of the mind type warfare that it's like you realize you on a spiritual battlefield, is all I can say about it. But I'm not here to really talk about that. I'm here for a new movie review where we're going to do the day after tomorrow. And I have a lot that I can say about this film, but I want to go systematically through as I always do. And Lord, I give to you all the glory and all the honor that you're going to give me the words that need to be said in this, because I want to make sure that I'm saying this to the capacity which you really desire for me to say it, because what the Lord has shown me in relation to this, that we only prophesy in part. And what I've seen leading up to even me watching this is something's going on. And these are the kinds of words that when I do them, I'm a little bit hesitant because of what God showed me. But it's funny that the past couple of days I've been hearing speak, speak, speak. So because of that, I'm not one to be insubordinate with the Lord, because disobedience is still disobedience. So I'm going to come and let the Lord say whatever he has to say about this film, release it, and let it be what it is. So, starting at the beginning, there's a man named Jack. I'm not sure what his last name is. I don't know whether it's Canfield or what it is, but he's a climatologist, and he's been studying climate patterns and climate change for a period of time. And here's where it starts to get deep. I've been watching and seeing certain things. See, when God is speaking, he doesn't speak in just one way. He speaks in multiple ways, but the way that he brings you the confirmation will show you the level of his desire to give you wisdom in relation to that thing, because of the fact of how he showed it to you, if you can understand what I'm saying. Meaning, he shows you a confirmation here, 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 here. It's almost like you can't ignore what you have seen. And the Lord has been speaking to me like this for since I was a kid. So what he showed me is I've been seeing that we've seen these storms. Back in 2016, 17, there was a major storm in one of the other countries, and it had a something that resembled I forget what they call the exact water phenomenon, when the water pulls back from the shore, pulls all the way back. Oh, the tsunami effect. And it devastated an entire area of, I cannot think of it. Pay close attention. So anytime you hear sirens or alarm, that means pay attention. It destroyed part of that city. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Hawaii, because I remember at the time there had been major coverage on the fact that there were people that were in that location for vacations that year. I remember also that Louis Farrakhan was talking about the fact that these storms aren't just storms. This is God really just making it known. We have seen that there has been storms where there was a level of water, even recently California being hit with levels of rainstorms, New York being hit with levels of rainstorms, all of these kinds of things. They've been talking about California and the platelets underneath of it. I've seen that there have been, even in Maryland and other states, that uh there was earthquakes. Maryland, Washington, D.C., all of these places, that there was a major earthquake that was a category we had never seen it before. Uh in these past few years. And I remember specifically when the um major eclipse happened in 2017, that it took place and they show everything. We are in a year, even right now in 2024, that they are about to do another eclipse. I recently heard on the news they were talking about the fact that people were getting together. There was going to be a major tourism and influx in the cities that were going to be able to watch this major eclipse happen in a matter of weeks. That's going to make sense momentarily when I start to talk about the climatology and what this man was saying in this film. Okay. There is something spiritually going on, and you have to keep your ear to the ground to be able to see, hear, and gain wisdom. I don't see things often in relation to climate, weather changes, all of these kinds of things, but I'm going to tell you something that I don't share. The Lord showed me something, not this year, not last year. This was over 10 years ago, because if I recall correctly, I was still in my past relationship. I have been out of that relationship for almost 10 years now. Actually, I think it's been 11. And I remember at the time I had had a dream about a wave surge coming up from the water. Around that same time, I also had a dream within a year or so of that, of destruction and demolition, of looking like war-torn countries. It's going to make sense as I explain this film. I also saw there being a level of destruction where you saw bricks, the ground broken up. You saw front steps torn out. Literally looked like war-torn countries, because it had been such a level of destruction from storm surge. And I've been having dreams about this for years. I remember what startled me is I remember I was watching a video on YouTube, and it was a female celebrity who's not very well spoken of. She had her music success for a period of time, but she hasn't really touched music in a while. But I happened to come across one of her videos. You see that? There's an alarm. Sirens. That I came across one of her videos. She was being interviewed, and she spoke of a dream. And the dream that she had was nearly identical to one that I had had in relation to my family members, kingdom spouse, everybody was in this dream. And we were trying to escape. We had left, we were in a hospital, We ended up leaving that area. There was helicopters everywhere. And I tell you, this woman had almost darn near exact same dream. We managed to find a car. We were taking the car somewhere. The streets there was nobody out there. I mean, we were trying to find a safe place and ended up in a old apartment complex that was from my childhood, and there was something trying to get in. It was split. The dream actually ended up being split in two, because when we were driving to get to the place, I woke up, and then another night, and this is how you know that the Lord is truly speaking to you. When you have a dream one night, and then 2, 3 nights have passed, and you go back into the dream realm, and you're in the exact same place of that same dream, and it picks up where it left off. That's how you know. And we rode to the next location, ended up being this old apartment complex that we had, that me and my dad were familiar with. Ended up in the old apartment, and then all of a sudden, something was breaking through the door. And I remember it attacking me. I literally could feel the thing grab me to try to like take a chunk out of my neck. Woke up feeling like, where's the part of my neck? What happened? I'm being 100% serious here. Something's going on. Because this is something that I've been seeing for years. So as the film starts, he's talking about the climate changes. And with these climatary changes and weather patterns, that it's going to bring the people into a new ice age. But it's not supposed to happen for 600 years. So everybody's like, oh, that's a great climatologist review. This is amazing. Oh my God, this is fantastic. And all of this. He's like the best climatologist person. Everybody loves it. The lecture was amazing. Blah, 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 blah. But in him speaking this forth, you start to see the context of the storyline begin to be built as they show you another area. I don't know whether it was overseas somewhere, and you're starting to see climate activity to match what he had just said. When you have a prophetic anointing, when you speak out your mouth what's supposed to happen, and the interesting thing about it is what he was saying was a prediction. Okay? But the prophetic gift, and as we know, as the scripture tells us, that God pours out his spirit liberally. Okay? That prophetic gifting literally is you speaking out a verbal expression. You're telling of. You're prophesying out your mouth. So as he spoke it, then you started to see it. Those of us that have the gift, and I've seen this even in the way that I operate with this channel, that I will prophesy something. I'm not even trying to sit here and prophesy. I'm just talking to y'all. And as I'm talking it out, and when I say I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking what the Lord has shown me in conversation with him to you. He then gives me a level of revelation, and at the point in time in which you see it, it is being made manifest, whether it is a spiritual manifestation or a physical one. That's what prophecy is. Okay? So he spoke it, and then you started to see the fractures, the evidence, the beginnings of the destruction as it was spoken. If you recall in the word that it says, God spoke the worlds into existence. That was the first thing he spoke, was our world into existence. How is it that a prophet had the ability to shut up the rains? I'm making a point here. For 3 years. And then when he did speak it back into happening again, it was such a deluge of water. God is preparing to do a release into his people's lives of blessing. And the storm you're seeing, and I'm going to get into this later, is going to be a reflection of the manifestation of God's will as we see the Kairos of it coming together in this season of manifestation of God being seen amongst his people. To be seen amongst his people. It's a Kairos moment. But in that happening, you're seeing the storm start to happen. Because see, a lot of us have the assumption that when the blessings of God begin to be poured out, that it's going to be, hey, it's a beautiful thing. God's going to pour his blessings and there's not going to be any warfare. No, you're going to see a war of the worlds. As there is a spiritual fight. I'll never forget, there was a video that I saw on YouTube a few years ago where you literally saw a cloud in the sky, and they were pointing out the fact that they saw something that looked like somebody waving a whip of fire. Came to the conclusion that the angels were fighting atmospherically, and they were using swords of fire. There will be physical manifestations of angelic and demonic battles. I remember hearing Tiffany Montgomery say this. She said, if you see two people in a major fight before you, that argument isn't happening just because. That argument is happening because there is a demonic presence above and it's in war. It's a spiritual fight. When you feel heavy weight over your head and you feel like you're oppressed and can't seem to get that weight off of you, you're feeling the atmospheric change of spiritual things as the weight spiritually. The other day, I literally, hear me when I say this, heard a woman outside screaming, and the way in which she was screaming, you could tell that it wasn't anything that was God in that. There was something demonic about the way that she was screaming. It was just even the way that her voice inflected. It was demonic. You're seeing demonic manifestations. Somebody just caught themselves on fire, and it was one of the United States troops. And I'm like, excuse me? And then it was another situation. Something happened in the church. This is a spirit that is going into these places and causing confusion because he has no other way to stop what God is preparing to do. So he is sending the spirit of the madman. But you know what? The spirit of the madman, the numeric meaning of it is impossible. But God means I am possible. So he is going to stop whatever it is that the people think that is going to happen, because he's the God that is in control. I'm going to come back for the next part because I'm trying to make sure I have enough room.